Good evening, guys. MWUSA Season 2, Episode 242. Hope everyone's doing well. It is a Sunday afternoon, evening, and I am off. Just leaving the house right now. Gonna go play some slots, mainly. Gonna have one session of blackjack tonight, and the goal is to make $2,000. A lot of things about the trip. Of course, I got back day before yesterday, and I learned a lot. I really did. I learned a lot about that area that I was. I learned a lot about other APs. I learned a lot about how much harder it is in other areas than it is in my neck of the woods to make money. I do believe that it is harder in that area than it is where I live. So there are a lot more people checking machines, even playing blackjack. And although the blackjack rules are not that great there's still a lot of people playing. And I was surprised. The one player that I played with on the last day was only spreading. I checked my records. He was actually spreading 1 to 3, not 1 to 2, but he was waiting for a true 2 count, and then a true 3, and then a true 5. So he went 1, 2, 3 chips at a true 1, true 2, 3, and 5. So I was surprised at how clueless the casino was as far as counting cards. There were a lot of baccarat players there. The limit on the table was $25 to $200 most of the time. The one I played was $25. Actually, it was $5 to $200 or $25 to $500, and that's the table that I played, the $25 to $500. And I noticed the baccarat players were pounding it, though. They were betting heavy duty. They must have had, I think they had a $500 limit too, because I remember a guy betting a $500 chip on the main on the main bet, and then betting $75 on each of the 3 side bets in baccarat. And I noticed that that table was completely full almost 24 hours a day as far as the baccarat was concerned. So I checked my spread. I spread from 1 hand at 25 to 1 hand at 500, or 2 hands at 350 was the max that I went. And they never called out table max. They never called out anything. They never called out checks played, nothing. And I was going from, so if I was going from 25 basically to 700 when I'm doing 2 hands of 350, that's a 1 to 28 spread without any heat at all. So very interesting. They had an interesting way of cutting the cards. I mean, as far as putting in the actual cut card, the end to the shoe, they took the cut card and they put it sideways, lengthwise, on the shoe, on the cards, and then where it ended is where they cut it. So it's consistent, and I have to check that, but I believe that's probably 1.5 decks. Not great, but not the end of the world. You can survive, you can make money doing that. So interesting. I did have one other short blackjack session, and I did win money on that. I won I want to say 350 or 450, somewhere like that. I don't think I mentioned it on the podcast. I think for the entire trip I ended up ahead between 3,000 and 3,500. I thought it was a lot worse than that. It felt a lot worse than that just because the plays were so hard to find, and there were so many people checking machines. It was just insane. So I got so many steps in. Also, I got about almost 30 miles in 3.5 days of walking. And the last day I did very little walking. Let's see, anything else I wanted to say about that? I think that's it as far as the trip is concerned. I don't believe that I'm going to get to my goal this year now. I just don't think there's enough time to make enough money unless I hit it real hard. And I may do some of that tonight, just depending on the opportunity that I get and how things are going, how busy it is, all that kind of stuff. So we'll see what happens there. Right now it is 37 degrees. I'm just heading out. I'm planning on hitting 2 slots casinos, then a blackjack casino, then 3 slots casinos, and we'll see how it goes. So letting you go for now, and I'll be back to update you. All right, guys, I am back. I was expecting to be in there for 20 minutes or so. I was actually in there for about an hour, maybe just over an hour. What happened is I go in, I see a machine right away, sit down, and I'm ahead like $160 right away. So very happy. Things are going well. I see a couple people I know, talk to them for a minute, move on to another machine, play that one through. It's a $5 machine, and it was in good shape. I sit down, play that through, end up losing. I end up down 150 or 160 after being up that much. So I lost about 300 on that machine. I find another one that's in decent position. It's frozen up, can't get to it. I move on. It wasn't worth me calling someone to fix it. It wasn't going to make me that much money. Go around the corner, check some machines. 2 of the ones I wanted to check had people on them, so I said, well, I'll just come back, check them on the way out. 4 of them actually did. So I move on, and I see a machine that's like in a position that you never see it. So just to give you an idea, it takes about 18,000 spins to get in this position, and it generally doesn't last very long. So I see a lady playing it, and she's not fast playing it, so I don't think she knows anything. So I say, okay, well, I'll come back. It could take a little while to get there, so let's just wait and see. I decide to go into the last area, walk in there. I see a lady on a machine. She's playing it at the $2 level, and the $6 level is ready to hit. She's got like $180 in this machine. I'm watching her. She gets down to 80. She gets it up to 150, down to 20, up to 70. Then she loses her money. I perk up a little bit. Then she puts another $100 bill in there. I'm there for so long, a guy walked by and was joking around with me and said, what are you doing, guarding that machine? So, I mean, I was there for a while. I was there for 35 or 38 minutes. I was looking at my watch, but finally decided to leave it because she just kept pumping bills in. And actually, in the middle of waiting for her, I went back to the other machine to see how it was doing. And this Asian guy that I know was sitting at it, and I'm like, oh man, that lady got up and he sat down. I walk up to him and I say, oh, she got up, I can't believe it. He goes, oh, the lady you're watching back there got up? I said, no, she's still there. He goes, she's been there for over an hour on that machine putting money in it. Meanwhile, I look over, and the Asian lady that I saw looks like it was his wife that was playing this machine. She's sitting on the machine next to this one, letting him take a few thousand spins on it. So I said, all right, I'm out of here. So I ended up finally leaving. At that point, I'm just making one more lap through. And so there were 4 machines I wasn't able to check. I check 2 of them. I go to check 2 of them, and 2 people sat down right before I got there, like 15 seconds before I got there. I said, I'm not going to wait around. These machines are tough machines anyway. They're very high variance, so they can get you where you want to go. But unfortunately, I just didn't want to wait any longer. It's already been dark for a long time, and I've got 5 more casinos to hit. So I go all the way back to the front, and we're getting ready to leave, and I see one machine that's kind of there, just barely not there. It's $7.50 a spin. I think to myself, I'm down like $150 or so. Let's give it a minute here, and you can tell by certain things if it's getting close or not. So I said, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And it did start moving the direction I wanted it to, but it started taking my money, and I got down to $12 or $13 left, out of my 500 that I started with, and it finally started to turn around, and then it finally hit the big prize that I was going for, and I ended up leaving with a voucher of $1,159. So I ended up ahead $659. So thankfully that all worked out, but I was feeling really awful. The one I played when I was up about 160 is kind of a tough machine, but it can go either way. It can take all your money, and generally does take a lot of money. It can pay you nothing, or it could pay you big time, and I've gotten a lot of my W-2s on that machine this year, but I've also had a lot of bad swings. So I want to mention too, I had someone email me recently, and I just want to say, for anyone who emailed me, I'm sorry I was behind on my emails. I was 5 or 6 days behind. I did reply to all of them. I spent a couple hours last night working on them, and I did reply to all of them. And if I did not reply to you, that means I didn't see it. Please send it again. But I did have someone mention that he's going to an area. He told me what area he was going to and his budget, and he was really worried because after paying for a hotel and stuff, he was going to be pretty low on funds, and wanted a little bit of advice on how to play it. And I gave him that advice. And when you're talking about machines, if you have a low budget, you have to go with lower variance unless your bankroll is replenishable. I can start playing slots with $50 and turn it into a success, but I have to start with the machines that don't pay much and they have low variance and work my way up. So if you're paying $200 a night for a hotel, I don't suggest starting with a super low bankroll. But if you have a decent sized bankroll and you're willing to take some risks, if you have a replenishable bankroll, then you've got to throw in some of these higher variance machines, and they can give you the kick that you need to get a little bit more funds to be able to play the things you want to play. So I'm not saying to take a lot of risk, but I'm just saying if it were me, this is the way that I would play it, and I've always played it this way. And machines are going to have a lot less heat, and most of the machines that you're going to reasonably play with a low budget, you're not going to get a W2. So I don't think you're going to get a lot of heat, especially if you're not using a player's card. So go for it, do what you need to do. There's certain machines that I play that even at the top level, I've never gotten a W2 because it doesn't get you there. And I love those machines because you get to keep all the money. Anyway, right now I'm moving on to the next spot. Everything is fine. Roads are dry. Traffic is a little heavy, but everything looks good. So I'm going to let you go for now, and I'll be back soon to update you. Alrighty guys, I am back. Went into the next spot. I was in there for approximately 40 minutes or so, a little longer than I would have liked. There were other people in there, not too many though. Lots of customers, so there were opportunities. I just wasn't the one that was playing them. At least I didn't get stuck behind some lady for half an hour or more. Let me think through this here. Walked in, found a play right away, made about $20 on that one. Went around and then went to the back area, didn't find anything. Started swinging back, and they put in a new game that I first played in Vegas when I was there. I mean, I was already familiar with it. I'd already studied it before I got there. But this game has many, many, many bet levels on there. I think 60 cents is the lowest, and the maximum is I think it's $100 maximum. So it's quite a big spread, maybe 50, somewhere in there. But this young guy was playing it, young white guy, and he is putting $20 bills in, playing at $6. And when he doesn't have enough for a $6 spin, he was changing to $3. We didn't have enough, he changed it to 60 cents. And then he'd put in another 20, and over and over and over again. And I'm standing behind him, and he doesn't realize it, but the one that's going to hit is the 60 cents. So he's wasting all his money at $6, doing 3 or 4 or 5, 6 spins every $20, whatever. And that's not the one that's going to hit. He finally gets up, moves over to the next machine. I sit down, and I played that one through, and it actually played pretty poorly for me, but I still ended up making some money on it, maybe like $10 or $12 on there, even though it was in nice position. I just got the bad end of it. So let's see, got up from that machine, and there was another machine close to it that was a fan favorite for a while, but then people figured out how big of a scam it was, and they completely stopped playing it. And in fact, they have this machine in the front and in the back of the casino. And in the back of the casino is where I've been finding plays on it. I think people kind of don't want to play it in front of other people because usually it steals your money, but when it pays out well. So anyway, I find a play at $1.20 a spin, and I'm probably in this thing for 15 spins or so, and it was paying okay throughout. I ended up hitting for $35 or $40 when I finally hit it. Then some of my favorites were definitely not available, and then I go around the corner, I'm in the home stretch getting ready to leave, and I see this Asian guy who's a friend of mine, real nice guy, always talking to me, and he told me that he's getting $800 a week right now in free play. So this guy definitely plays a lot. I have personally seen him go through $20,000 on a machine chasing something. So it is possible, and even in a small town, a small city, people do bet that kind of money, and it's crazy. Oh, I wanted to mention, I wasn't even thinking about this. Speaking of stuff like that, there is an Indian guy, like from Indian, who plays this machine. This machine has many bet levels, anywhere from, I don't know, 50 cents, 75 cents, something like that, all the way up to over $200 a spin, right? So this guy will go through and do every bet level. He'll do like 5 at 75 cents, 5 at $1, 5 at $2, 5 at $3. He's insane. And then it'll get close to hitting, he'll switch the level. Close to hitting, switch level. And don't think that you're going to stand behind him if you think it's about to win and get the machine. He will be there for like 6 hours. I guarantee you, if I came back here in 3 or 4 hours, he will still be at that machine pumping $100 bills into it. He probably brings $20,000 or $30,000 to this small-time casino, and they must just love him because that machine is at like 87% return to player, and he is just getting destroyed on that machine. Even people like me who know what they're doing somewhat, I don't know how much of an expert I am, but I think I'm an expert. When I play that machine, I've taken some enormous dives on that machine. I'm talking $4,000 downswings on that machine, and that's leaving down $4,000 after hitting what I'm chasing for. So definitely a very difficult machine. There are some new machines that they're putting in that are such low return to player that it's almost like, I don't know what the minimum is. Is the minimum 80? And I'm seeing some that are so incredibly low that people don't have a chance. And it's a shame because a lot of the new machines have such nice graphics and stuff, and the machines fizzle out in no time because they have it set so tight no one can win on it. And even though it's nice graphics, nice music, nice bonuses and stuff, people can't afford to play it very long. So it's a shame. You know, do you shear a sheep for life, or do you just kill it one time? I guess they don't really give a damn because there's new young people coming up all the time. Anyway, right now, moving on, we're going to go play some blackjack and see if we can wreck this casino a little bit. I don't mind getting a little bit of attention today. I've been kind of in a bad mood for a couple weeks, and I'd like to do something big. So hopefully we have some nice variance. We don't get buried right away. If we're ahead right away, I don't mind trying to push it a little harder, trying to make my spread a little bit bigger, and seeing if we can have a big day today. And to all you experts out there, I don't care what you say. I'll do what I want. If I want to spread big, I'll spread big. And I've got a good enough cover. I think I'm good for a while. Anyway, moving on to this next spot. Temperature is still okay, still 34 degrees. There's no precipitation, so I'm not worried about slick roads or anything at this point. So letting you go, I'll be back. All right, guys, I am back. I thought I would be in here for maybe hour and a half. Nope, 2 hours and 50 minutes I was in this place. I was at the blackjack table for 2.5 hours. From the first hand, I was down, and I bought in for 500 on a $50 table. Had the most stable table that I've ever seen for the first hour and a half. First hour and a half, my initial $500 buy-in held. So I never had to rebuy for an hour and a half. And what's more amazing, I was never ahead for that hour and a half. So for an hour and a half, I was treading water between 50 and 500 on a $50 table. That's a 10 unit, and that was over eight shoes, 8 six-deck shoes. And she was putting the cut card at about 7/8.875 of a deck. So, usually this place is a little bit better, but I wasn't complaining. All the shoes were negative on that initial table. I had, I think, 9 shoes total. I had 1 shoe that had positive counts, and my biggest bet was $100. Finally, after all those negative shoes and big negatives, I finally saw another table open. I switched over to the other table. I went over there, started playing over there. At that point, I had bought in for a total of $3,000. At that point, I had exactly $300 left, and maybe $325. And I go over to that table, start playing, and it had a little bit of a rocky start. Actually, no. Let me go back here. I had bought in for a total of $2,500, and I had $300 left. And then I went over to the other table. I lost the $300, rebought for $500 more. So then I was in for a total of $3,000, and started playing, the next shoe or whatever, and things started turning up a little bit, and I had a nice little run in the middle. Count was hanging around a true 1.5, and eventually, at the end of a shoe, when the shoe ended, was the first time that I was positive for the night. After 2 hours and 30 minutes, I was ahead exactly $100. I decided to get up. I mean, at that point, how long am I going to be there? How long am I going to let them watch my activity? All those different things. And they didn't know who I was. First table, there was an old man on my right and a very young guy on my left. I was in the middle, obviously. And the guy on my left probably hit 10 blackjacks in 1 shoe, but he was betting the side bets and losing his money. I mean, he was winning almost every blackjack hand and still ended up busting out. The old man that was sitting to my right had said that he had been there for 8 or 9 hours, and he started playing blackjack early in the day. He lived about 40 minutes away, and both of them were just smashed. They were so drunk, both of them. And I'm like, you're gonna let this guy drive? Oh, he'll be fine. Wait a minute. So he's so drunk he could barely pick up his chips, and you admit that he's drunk, and he just said that he lives 40 minutes away. You're not gonna even help him out? That's just so much greed. So much greed. The young guy ended up busting out and leaving. The old man ended up winning. I think he left ahead like 2,100, but he was betting stacks every hand. When he left, another older man sat down. He bought in for 400 and lost within a quarter of a shoe, so he was gone. Then an Indian guy comes to the table at the start of another shoe, and he's betting 2 hands, then 1 hand, then betting high, then betting low, staying on 15, doubling 15, all these crazy things, and then he busted out. And then it was just me at the table trying to, toward the end of that first table, a very overweight man comes to the table, white guy, and sits down, buys in for 4,000, and first hand he's betting like 12 or 1,300, and then he's raising his bet from there. So needless to say, he lost that pretty quick. Rebought for 3,000 more, lost that. No, he didn't lose that. He actually had a big double down. It was a $1,200 split, and then he doubled one. And the count at that point was like a minus 21 early in the shoe, like a deck into the shoe. And I had nowhere else to go. Don't yell at me. I know. I was betting minimum. And he gets an 11. I guess a face card, doubles it down, gets a 2. The other hand, I don't know what he got. Some terrible hand, also 17 or 18. And the dealer's 10 turns over a 2 and gets a 6 card 22. So sick. This guy wins. It's a swing of $7,200 on that last card that the dealer took. Anyway, by the time I left that table, I went to the other table because I was doing so horribly, and the count was negative again. I cannot take these negative counts, but I have nowhere to go. There's no other tables. I will bet minimum as long as I need to. Luckily, a table opened up. By the time I went over to that table, that guy, I think he had bought in for a total of $9,400, if I recall properly. And then by the time I left, he had like 14,000 in front of him. And by the time I got my money back at the other table and I was leaving at the end of that shoe, this guy was down to his last bet of like $400 or $500 in black chips. So, you know, it's just like you see a big house and you envy those people. You wish you were those people. Oh my God, look at their car, look at their house. And then you find out they have no furniture and they're 2 months behind on their mortgage. You know, you never know. This guy comes to the table, has some decent success. And I'm like, I've been over here toiling and working hard and everything else, doing everything I possibly could. I flat bet the first 3 or 4 shoes. I never raised my bet above minimum. And then after that, I went 1 unit higher. That's it. On the next shoe. That's it. 100 was my high at that point. But you do all that, and then some guy just comes to the table and has immediate success. And, you know, you feel bad for yourself, but you get over it when you see that he's a losing player and you're a winning player over time. My spread was one hand at 50 up to one hand at 300, and that was it. So after all that, I had 3,100 in chips. At 3,000, they ask you for ID. I asked for 2 $500 chips in the color up. I took 2,600 to the cashier, kept 500 in my hands. I'm trying to, you know, I try to see how much I can, how I can hold the chips in a way that aren't visible and all that in my hands. We'll talk about that some other time, but you could do like 7 or 8 chips if you're good in each hand and make it difficult for people to see it. But anyway, that's if you're putting money away. But I go look at some slot machines because I haven't cashed that $500 chip. Walking around, I see a machine, 75 cents a spin. I play that. There was 2 different plays on there. Played both of those at 75 cents and 2 different machines, and ended up ahead like $20-something. I go to another machine, which is one of my favorite machines now, because it can be such a good machine if you do it right. Sit down and immediately lose what I was ahead and like 30 more, and now I'm cursing the machine's mother. And as I'm cursing the machine's mother, I'm checking the machine next to it. I see another play there. Play that one, have a nice hit on that one, and ended up ahead $223 on the slots. So 5 minutes of slots plus 223, 2.5 hours of blackjack plus 100, and I'm moving on to the next spot, which is probably going to be abandoned at this time of night, but I'm going to take a look and hopefully there's a play or 2 there. I'll be back. All right, guys, I am back. One thing I forgot to tell you about the last place that I was just at was when I was playing blackjack next to the drunk guy, the younger guy, to my left. He was asking everyone at the table where they were from and things like that. And of course, I gave my normal lie that, you know, when you go to casinos, you have to have your story straight. Where are you from? Why are you here? How long are you here? How come you came in this many days in a row? You need to know all that information and have it come out naturally. You can't have it sound like you're making it up. So you have to know details You have to know roads, you have to know highways. So where are you from? I told him my normal lie. I know which highway I live off of in my lie. I know what city, the history of the city, the sports teams in the area, all that kind of stuff. You have to know it. So anyway, I told him that, and he said, well, what do you do for a living? And I said, I gamble. Just kidding. Obviously, I'd be a terrible gambler, and everyone laughed at the table. The dealer laughs at the table. So I just thought that it was the perfect time for me to say that at the table, with these couple drunk guys and this dealer who's a little uneasy because everyone's been losing at the table for so long. And I threw that out there, and everybody had a chuckle. So anyway, I went into this next place expecting not to find much, and I was not disappointed. I found 2 machines to play, 3 machines to play. First machine was a great play and easy money, and I lost $30 on it. Then I walk around, look at some far reaches of the place, and there's one machine I'm hoping to find a play on, because it can be so lucrative, and it's still very far away. So still thousands of spins away from being a possibility. So I let that go, and then I found another machine that was all right, not great, and ended up losing another $20 on that one, maybe 10. So I'm down about 40 at that point. And then I find one more machine on my way out and play that, and that one paid okay. And I ended up leaving, I believe, plus 43. I forget so quickly. Yeah, plus 43. That's why I like to put it in my notepad as I'm walking out of the casino. My bet spread, how long I played, information, all that kind of stuff. I can just speak it into my notepad, and then I don't forget. So plus 43 there. It's after midnight now. I am at the furthest point right now from home, and I have a few more casinos I want to hit. I need to get to work early in the morning. I have to go in the office. I can't skip tomorrow. Maybe I can. I have no idea. But at the very least, I need to get my stuff figured out and start producing, doing the work that this other guy did. All I have right now is an outline, and I haven't actually done any of the work yet. So tomorrow I'll get into the office. I'll get that all figured out. I'll create the documents and all that. And that part will be done. Then I'll have a meeting with my manager and discuss the future and how we can distribute other stuff to other people, because I don't want to do the work. You want me to actually work too? Oh my gosh, I thought I was just getting a salary so I could gamble, but if you want me to work, that's going to cost you extra. So I'll have a discussion with him about how to distribute the other work. Right now, temperature is still okay. It's 36 degrees and very dark. I'm on a highway with very few cars. No one in front of me, no one behind me. Just some reflectors in the middle of the road, and that's really about it. So you got to be careful. There's a lot of forest in the area. Lots of deer could be crossing the highway, so you just have to be careful. So for now, I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to move on to the next place, and I'll be back to update you after that. Alright guys, I am back. I was in there for a little too long, just looking for anything to play and really couldn't find much. Learned some lessons about a new machine that I've been experimenting with, and overall I've made money on it every time I've played it, but I learned a little bit more about it tonight, and just really not much going on in there. I'm going to head over to at least one more spot right now. I ended up minus $12 there. I'm going to go to one more place, take a quick look around, and then figure out what to do from there. So for now, just moving on, and then I'll be back to update you. Alright guys, I am back. Wow. There's some craziness happening in there. I walk in and look at this one machine. It's a set of 3 machines, and it's got lots of levels on there, and I'm looking through everything, and I find a play, but it's at $16 a spin. It's barely there, but it could be 200 or 300 spins before it hits. So I thought about it for a while. I said I'll just go around, do my other stuff, and come back. No one's going to be playing this anytime soon. So I even left it on the screen. No one's going to play it. So I go to let me think here. I went to this first machine. There's two of them next to each other. One of them didn't have a play, the other one did, and I played it through, and I think I ended down like $15 or $18, something like that. I walk around and I see this guy playing this machine, and it's in an incredible position that you rarely see. Like, I don't get to play that except maybe once a month. That's how rare it is. And he's playing it. It's at 75 cents a spin, and he's playing it. And I decided to go do some things because he's got $100 in there, and it's far from hitting. It was about 1,200 spins away from hitting. So that's the maximum. It would be 1,200 spins. So I mein, most likely he's going to have 300 or 400 spins before it hits, at the very least, if he's super lucky. And as I'm on the highway here now, I am seeing snow on this part of the highway, so I'm not very excited about that. And the temperature is 34, so I just got to watch myself. But anyway, I go and I find another machine, and I play that, and that takes me down a big rabbit hole. Play that for a while, finally get done with it, and end up exactly in the same spot that I was. I didn't make $1, I didn't lose $1, but wasted a bunch of time on that. I mean, I got points on my card, but I don't really care. Then I go check another machine, and I saw something very strange on this machine. Normally when this machine hits, it takes a while for it to have the opportunity to hit again. But like on the same, it's hard to explain, but on the same screen that it hit, it already was showing that it was going to hit again. And it was a risky play because normally, even when it's in position, it's kind of risky anyway, and this is something really unusual that I had never seen before. So I decided to play it anyway. I was in it about $80 or so when it finally hit, and it paid $155, which is about what I thought it would pay. But I was really excited that that worked out and that it paid that much, because it can burn you. So I go look at a couple other machines, and I see these one machines that I'm telling you, so many times I've said I'm never going to play them again, but sometimes they're in a certain position where it looks too good to be true. I played it and I lost $1, so it's just more waste of time. And then I go back and I see the guy still sitting there, but I see the jackpot already hit, but he's still playing. I'm thinking, what is wrong with this guy? Does he not understand what he was doing? He must have not understood and just gotten lucky. So I wait for him to leave, come back around, I go to the machine, and it must have paid about $350, and he cashed out 5 cents out of that machine. What a shame. What a total shame. So I just wanted to make sure that I was looking at the right thing. I thought, well, maybe he switched bet levels and I'm seeing something wrong and there's still a play on there. But I walked up and he actually did hit it. But I noticed that there was another play, another very unusual play, on the same machine. And I personally, I've heard of this, but I've never actually seen it. I've seen something close to this, but not this good. And it is a cue that one of the next few spins is going to hit big. And it just, to the extent that I saw this, was a little ridiculous. It didn't, I was surprised. So anyway, that one was about $4 a spin, and within 2 spins I hit it, and it paid $357, I believe. And did a couple other small plays on that machine and ended up leaving for the day. See, I knew this number and I forgot it already. I had $451, so plus $451 there. Right now it is after 3 o'clock in the morning. I am still very far from home. I am low on gas, so I'm going to stretch it as long as I can and then get some gas, and I think I'm going to head home. It's been a long day. Tomorrow's going to be a very long, frustrating day without making a lot of money, and I probably want some rest here before I go. Tomorrow is the first day that guy who left is not going to be there. He would get there at 6 a.m. I would get there at 8, but no one else would get there until 9. So I think I'm going to stretch it and go probably 8:45 tomorrow. Get in there, try to do my due diligence, do my best on everything for about an hour or so, and hopefully I can get everything figured out in that hour as far as what I'm working on, and get paperwork drawn up and ready to go, and then maybe spend a half hour actually doing the work, and then head out to a slots casino, and then schedule a meeting with my manager for the afternoon to review the next steps for the other stuff. So if I go to him and show that I've already done a bunch of stuff and it's ready to go, and I've already sent out the emails and all the different things that I need to all the different departments, then I think he's going to be willing to listen to what I have to say. And then when I say, assign this to this person and this to this person, he'll probably do it and take some heat off of me. So anyway, that's it for now. If you have any questions or comments, mwusa21@gmail.com, mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.